Somebody asked me on the community tab, I think it was last night, I just read it this morning, how I regulate the heat when I'm trying to cook, especially like multiple things at the same time. Specifically, if I want something cooked at high temperature compared to something slow cooked. And the answer is this center section here, this cast iron that you lift. It's actually the opening to feed the logs in from the top, but that's has solid steel, where this is enamel, cast enamel, and covered enamel. So that's much cooler than this center section. Plus, just being in the center gets that much more heat from the fire. So when I want to cook something on high temperature, I'll put it in the metal on this. Just if I want to boil a kettle of water, put it off to the side there if I want to slow down the cooking. And this stove, this is broken. This is the damper that feeds air from the back. And these are the dampers for the chimney and for the output. But the input, there's no way to really control the airflow except for this, which you're not supposed to do. But this is the ashtray. You see when I open that a little bit, what happens is that the air rushes in there and the fire really heats up quickly. So if I want to boil a kettle of water, especially a full one, I'll put it right in the center on this steel, and then I will open that damper up so that the air rushes up and it creates a really hot fire. Then I can just damp that down. I can damp these down, close these down, and then it'll be a slower fire if I want to just slow roast something all day like I did yesterday. So for eggs, for frying these potatoes, I want to get a little bit more heat in there actually. So that's the answer. That's how I do it. Getting the hang of it does take some practice. Of course, I've been doing this for almost a year on this stove, so getting pretty good at figuring it out. Actually, the second part of that equation is how hot it gets in here. So it's only -6, I think, outside right now, Celsius, and it's what, 20 degrees in here, 68 inside the cabin. And if I get this fire cranked, which I'm about to do, to get these things cooking faster, it can get a little bit actually too warm in here, so I usually prop the door open rather than open the windows, although I do that sometimes too. But the door, she likes to go in and out anyway, Callie, so might as well crack the door open, then she can decide if she wants in or out. You just have to keep an eye on the mouse situation. Once I get one in here, I tend to get several, and then when I get rid of them, it's good for a while. Typically, I haven't trapped one in here since a week ago or something. See, see. Tone calorie. Man, is it ever bright out here. the snow, which is not going to last long. The snow is going to be gone by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. So what I'm doing here is scoring that line all the way around, so that when I knock out the chunks, the pieces that I'm leaving in after I cut with the saw cuts down to the line, when I knock those out, that it doesn't rip past that line. I don't want little tear outs all the way around the edges of that saddle notch. So by cutting through the wood, cutting through the fibers right at the edge of the wood, when I knock those out, like I said, it'll knock out flush with the line, not past the line. This is one of the reasons I keep hesitating to put a porch on here, besides the fact that it's not the easiest thing to do now, getting a sloped roof from high enough, because it gets narrower if I was high enough to get a slope. In other words, it's only 10 feet wide here, right? So by the time I went up, say 3 logs, it's only about 8 feet wide, which is awkward because then I'm gonna have to flare the roof out or something. But anyway, the main reason is this: it's so sunny right here that if I had an overhang, first of all, no light would get in this window, and it wouldn't be able to sit out here at this time of year and enjoy the sunshine. It's, well, even in the summer, I guess, if it's cool enough out, it's nice to sit here. The sun's actually high enough to peek through the clouds, of course, because that's how I charge the solar panels as well, or charge the power bank with the solar panels. But right now, with the sun lower, it comes in nicely just above the kitchen into here. This is late October, so the solstice is still another month and a half away, which means the sun's going to be even lower, but it still wouldn't clear this roof and shine in that window. So adds lots of degrees to the comfort out here by having this south-facing wall and being able to sit out here and have lunch, which I do almost every day if the weather's nice. But this is a very brief period of sunshine. We're about to get a storm move in and get some heavy rain tonight and tomorrow, which will melt all of this and make a big mess. They'll look straight until you start picking them out to put the next course on, and you realize how many are curved. So in this cabin, I'm going to, instead of putting full logs across everywhere and then cutting out the openings, I'm going to cut the logs shorter so the openings are pre-installed. That way I can take the straightest part of some of the logs and use that, and then use the curved part for something else. 4. About an hour and a half. I'm going to shut the camera off and try to get these things notched before I go in for dinner. Temperature's starting to drop, of course, as the sun goes down, so it's going to be cold, so I'm going to have to work as fast as I can. The reason I want to get it done tonight is because that rain's coming in. I won't be able to work out here at all tomorrow by the looks of the forecast. So what I'll do is just collect all that moss and maybe do a little bit of work inside the loft. Yep. Alright. Alright, I made it just before dark. That's what I thought. So that's a course done in a good part of a day of 5 logs. So once I get down to 4 logs, and now that I have a system going, it's going to go quicker. So I think I probably can get 2 courses done in a day. 8 logs, that's what I was thinking before. So if I can do that, that'll be good. Now it's going to come down to decent weather and shorter days, so whether I can keep this pace up or not. Callie, don't do that, please. Here. Here. Good girl. And then, of course, I've got other chores to do and projects to do. So any bad weather days, I'll try to either work inside when I'm not editing, or what else? Got a few other things to do outside. Nothing major though. Yeah, see you there, pup. Good girl. Come here. Come here, sit. Oh, look at those feet. Good girl. You're a mess. I have to brush you, okay? Morning. Man, is it ever rainy out there. Have 4 inches of snow that was on the ground is starting to disappear quickly now. It started raining about, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, I think. It's supposed to continue most of today, so. Callie, what are you doing? You want to go out? We're both tired this morning. Callie's still lying in front of the fire. So I was throwing the logs around all day yesterday, putting the second course of logs on the sauna, and she had her training dummy with her, and she drove me nuts with bringing it up to me every couple of minutes, so I was throwing that for her all day. So she's exhausted. I think she went to sleep or bed about 7 o'clock last night. So today's not going to be very productive, outside at least. I need to collect all the moss, so I will be doing that. Down in the valley here, it was still covered in snow, but now that it's going to be melted off, I can get in there, take all the moss that I need, stockpile it. I think I might actually put it in the cabin like I did this cabin, so that I can thaw it out with the wood stove once I get a roof on. Problem is, if I put it outside in a heap or something, it'll just freeze solid. I can't even get any pieces off of it, and I need enough to cover the entire roof, so I need quite a bit of it. So anyway, while I'm sitting here waiting for breakfast to cook on the stove, I'm just reading your comments on the latest video I just uploaded, which is the tool video. And within probably a minute or 2 of me uploading it, got 2 thumbs down on the video, and of course people noticed that and commented and said, who would do that? You couldn't even have watched the thing yet. And there's a couple people, or there's a bunch of people that I know for sure that do that, and basically they would consider themselves competitors on the YouTube scene, where they just don't like what I'm doing, or think they do a better job and that they're not getting recognition for it. And it's such a weak way to go through life, to, instead of doing something productive with your own life, to try to take others down. A couple in particular, they have YouTube channels and they talk about all the things they're going to do and the things that they do better and the things that they're more authentic about and all these things. And instead of just talking about it, why don't you just do it, and do it with high quality and consistency, dedication and authenticity, and you'll have what you might consider success. And stop focusing on the negative and stop focusing on trying to take other people down instead of improving your own skills and becoming a better person yourself. Such a good life lesson, I think, for anybody in any situation, is to just to focus on what you're doing. And that's why I say become self-reliant. More calorie hairs on my face. Just become self-reliant and stop worrying about other people think and do. Just do your thing and become good at it, so you're confident, and then you care less about what people think about you, and you care less about what other people think. And then you can start looking at people that are successful in whatever they're doing, or have an enviable lifestyle, or whatever it is that you envy or that you're jealous about, and create it yourself. And then maybe just look at that person as somebody to learn from, or to be friends with, or business partners with, comrades, whatever. Just try to focus on that instead of the negative side of it. I guess be inspired or be motivated to do something better with your life. We're all capable. There's a lot of literature out there that says that the number one predictor of success is intelligence, but number two is conscientiousness and work ethic. And I think we're all closer in our abilities than most people think. I think a lot of people think that they're incapable of doing something, therefore they don't try. But I've seen so many times and so many people in my life that are so close to having a great life, and they just make a few bad decisions or make a bunch of little bad decisions that don't seem like much at the time, and they stack up and become a miserable or unhappy life. I think if they just worked on each one of those individual things and put more thought into every action, every decision, and then started stacking up good decisions and productive decisions on top of one another, that becomes a great life. Got a question here. Probably a young guy asking why guys like me aren't super built, like big, massive bodybuilding type muscles. And I think the simplest answer is that bodybuilding and building mass is typically very strategic and focused. And you need to work on one thing, work on building strength, so lifting heavier and heavier weight every day with great nutrition to build muscle back up, and long recovery times. So good sleep and adequate rest so that your muscles can rebuild themselves. That's very focused, but it's also very one-dimensional. So you need to have enough time to really dedicate to doing that thing. Where guys like me, or guys that work in construction or do any physical work every single day, first of all, you don't have incremental increases in load typically. So in other words, you do the same job every day. So these logs, I haven't been doing this type of work for a while, throwing logs around all day. I'll go back to being more muscular than I have been for the last year or so, let's say, because I'll be lifting heavier and heavier loads for a while, especially as I get closer to the top of the cabin, start lifting things higher. So I'll be doing more repetitions and breaking my muscles down even more. And I'm feeling it this morning. That's why I'm still sitting here in front of the fire. And then if I eat properly and get good rest, I'll start building bulk back up. Well, that goes, it's basically something, it's a principle that works in everything in life. If you focus on one thing and become very good at it, it takes that focus. It takes focus and dedication to become good at something, at anything really. And that's one thing I've never been good at, is focusing on just doing one thing. I've always had the mindset that I'd rather live a full life and do a whole bunch of things than dedicate myself to one thing. I did like bodybuilding when I was a teenager. Then when I was in the early 20s, I stopped doing that. I'd always lifted weights a little bit, but I wasn't focused on building massive body because I had too many other things I wanted to do. And strength training helped me do those things because, you know, most of the things I like to do are physical. I did play hockey and soccer. It kept me in shape. Ended up being a decent sheet metal worker and quit that to become an office worker, essentially, or business and entrepreneur, I guess. So a lot of things that I've started I haven't finished, or I've just left those as a piece of my life instead of the focus of my life. And that's the way I like to live. I'd rather do that than becoming great at anything. I'm not a great carpenter. I'm not a great log cabin builder. I always say if you want to learn how to build a log cabin, and watch a log cabin home builder, not a guy like me. So there's a lot of things I do. Cook. Decent cook because I like to eat. That's really the only reason. I started cooking when I was a teenager because I wanted to feed myself and feed myself big healthy meals, especially back then when I was working out a lot and I needed healthy meals that the rest of my family wasn't eating. So yeah, I'm pretty good at a bunch of things. I'm not great at really anything, I would say. And that's the reason, but like I said, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is the life that I like to live. But when you do something, or when I do something, I like to do it to the best of my ability with the experience and the knowledge that I have. So if I am doing work outside, if I'm working on a cabin, I'll do some research and I'll focus and dedicate myself to that. If I'm making a YouTube video, why not do the best YouTube video I can do? So I enjoy that. I enjoy trying to increase my skill on whatever I'm doing, and YouTube videos are one of those things. I put a lot of effort into filming, put a lot of effort into trying to show you my life and show you the beautiful place that I live in. And in the editing, I spend as much time as I have to spend to get that done. If it's not ready in time, then I don't upload it at that time. I put that off. So sometimes it takes 2 days to make one video. Sometimes it takes 4 hours, depending on the type of content and the way that I filmed it. But that's, you know, for all those people that are hitting the thumbs down, I mean, legitimately, I'm sure people just don't like me and they're giving me a thumbs down for that reason. But for people that are literally just jealous or envious and think they can maybe bring me down a notch or take, I don't know, just add the negative thought into the channel. It doesn't work on me, first of all, and second of all, it's not a good use of your time. You should focus on just becoming a better person yourself, or a better YouTuber or filmmaker or whatever it is that you're envious of or jealous of. Well, it's starting to get lighter up there and out there, and the rain's not going to stop, so I better finish up breakfast here and get outside and collect that moss and get it into that cabin. See if I can dig up one of my tarps here off of something else, off a wood pile maybe, and cover that as well. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you up at the cabin next time. Take care. Ready to go for a walk? Your favorite spot down by the stream. Not as good as I thought it was going to be. Thought we would have had more of the snow melted overnight, but it's still enough to make it unpleasant at the very least to collect moss, but some of it I can't even find. I think what I'll do is wait another day, hope that all of it goes, all the snow goes, and then I can see all of the moss that I want to collect and collect it before the snow comes back or freezing temperatures come back. That's worse actually, because once it freezes to the ground I can't lift it up without it just breaking apart, if I can get it up at all. Worst case scenario is I have to wait till spring and I end up with a cool sauna over the winter because I don't have insulation on the roof. Plan is to get, I don't know, maybe a foot of moss growing on the roof, not just placed up there dying. I will have to replace it as it dies if it gets too warm next summer, like during the summer. But there is some pretty decent shade on the cabin, so I think it'll be fine. But the other thing is I'm thinking I might need to wait till spring and use a shovel, spade to get underneath and actually lift some of the sod up essentially. So with the roots of the grass and the dirt, the mud itself, the soil, so that it can actually have somewhere to grow on the roof, something to grow in. So that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is that we get another week or two of warm weather and each day I can go around collecting some moss to stockpile inside the cabin or inside the sauna, at least on the floor, so that I can heat it up later. It's covered in birds from running around here again. Hey, so we got Burry. Alright, I will take up what I have and see if I can find a little bit more and then find something else to do today. Edit, I guess, edit some videos.